You're listening to WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul.
Check, check, 1, 2. Look like a little country, some rock and roll and blues. 'Cause we sure love playing for good people like you. Let me know if you can hear me. Check, check, 1, 2.
Welcome to Music Local and Sustainable, the radio show that features discussions with and the music of local musicians. I am your host, Dave Lake. Tonight, we have William and Ann Cusack in the studio. You may know them better as Painter and Poet, a rising force in the Savannah music scene. Welcome, William and Ann Cusack. Where did the name Painter and Poet come from?
The name came from a song that William wrote while we were dating, and it was called Painter and Poet. And it was pretty much about us and how we have artistic differences in our different sides of our passion, but yet we love each other and we're so supportive of that. Then we decided, you know what, that's actually a really good name because it describes us pretty well. So that's how that came about. But I am an artist, I'm a painter. And William, of course, started out as being the songwriter of the group and still carries that really well. And so he's the poet.
And as we learned recently, lyricists are in line for literature Nobel Prizes.
Ah, very nice.
Indeed a poet. Why don't you talk a little bit about your musical journey? How did you get to this point?
Do you want the 4-book Lord of the Rings version? Old English?
Old English.
Like Dr. Seuss.
Draw
How
some
the Grinch
pictures
Stole
as well.
Christmas.
I will let you make that decision.
The journey is very unique and very commonplace as well in certain areas. So I am the first real musician in my family. I don't really know why that is, but I think a strong factor would be up to this point in time, it wasn't viable to be a musician. So didn't really have any type of a mentor or any type of a teacher to kind of guide me in the ways musically, whether it be writing a song or developing my talents. Nothing like that. I did have my mother who had sang casually, like growing up in church and stuff like that. And then my choir teacher in high school. But it all began, I was 9 years old. I came in from skateboarding, a hot summer, and was just kind of rifling around looking for something to do. Came across my sister's old nylon string guitar in my closet. My oldest sister, who's 14 years older than me, so she had gone already off to do her own thing, found this guitar, got my mom to restring it, and then just started learning some chords off a chart that was in there. And I will say there wasn't like this yes moment at first, so it was more of like, okay, that was cool, and I put it away. Later that summer, I went to a little camp thing, and they had this guitar session in the camp where all the kids played guitar. So we played guitar, and I got like the main solo part of whatever song you were doing, where I got to like rip a little ding 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 solo in it. Played that, and that really kind of sparked me. That kind of confidence put into me. So after that point, my mom recognized my talent. She bought me a good beginner guitar to boost that interest. Moved forward for the next couple of years, started out playing rhythm guitar in church, and didn't really start songwriting till probably like a year or two into my teenage years, writing songs, being in bands, the whole typical thing. Joined choir, that's when my vocal journey really started, my freshman year of high school. So learned all my theory, learned all my scales in choir, learned how to use my voice, but not necessarily in the way that I do now, just like strength-wise. Choral singing is very different than contemporary singing, but it does teach you how to use your instrument very well. And then I graduated high school, I didn't go to college, moved with a drummer here to Savannah, was living here for 2 years, and then I met Anna, and that's what kept me from moving back to Austin in Texas, and just kind of kept writing songs, kept learning, kept developing, and eventually I got a job teaching at Portman's, which is a store on the South Side, as an instructor for guitar, and I've been working there for 2 years now. That's where we're at in the current point in time. It's just been a lot of unfolding where I didn't go to college because I knew I wasn't supposed to go to college, because it wasn't something that would develop me in the way I wanted to be, because the truth of it is I want to be an entertainer, and there's no way to actually be taught that. It's like the school of hard knocks is the only way you learn. What are you supposed to do as an entertainer, as a producer, as a musician? People can teach you the facets of that. Teaching music for the past 2 years, playing with Anna, I would viably say that I've been a professional musician for 2 years now. Having that said, it's just one of those things where it's never easy, but you see your growth in your skill and in who you are exponentially increase. Jimmy Page said it so well. He said, everyone has something inherently different about themselves. They just have to discover it and develop it. And so it's not really about trying to be something that other people need you to be. It's about being something that you're supposed to be.
And then I guess I'll add my story
Yeah.
into that. I was pretty much brought up in music from since I was been like 4 or 5.
This is about to blow your mind. She's so much cooler than me.
No.
I always joke, I'm like, we're her backing band.
Whatever. So I had a long history of music, but it was always something like a hobby, something I really enjoyed. My musical background, I started in church, and so I did choir, I did handbells, piano for about 6 years, and then I got introduced to the oboe in middle school to high school, so I played that for 7 years, and then I played alto sax for marching. For church, I went on a lot of tours for the choir, and I played in the orchestra there. I went to a mega church, so it has a really big production in the music. And so I'm already toured, so catch up, bro. No. And so when I went off to college, I stopped doing music, and I started pursuing my art full time. And I didn't have really an outlet for music, and it was a little sad. And my grandma would always ask me, "Are you going to get back into music?" And I would tell her, well, maybe, but not for now. And I always figured I would get back into it when I was like, I don't know, 30 or 40, once I kind of could afford an instrument full time, because I always kind of rented stuff. But then I met William, and I remember we were dating. He wanted me to sing, and I was like, no. And it's been forever since I sang, and I was very scared of singing, and I didn't want to do it. I thought I wasn't very good. And then when we got married, I was like, I want to be in your musical journey. I want to join the band, whatever that might look like. I picked up tenor sax because it wasn't as high as the alto, because he was already playing guitar, and so I figured tenor would have been a more appropriate thing since we didn't have a bass player. And I decided to take that in and do it, and then we ventured into me singing. And so the journey began to really figure out, okay, how am I going to contribute to the music? And so we figured singing and alto sax, since we switched over, since it is lighter, easier to kind of dance with and carry. But I didn't really have plans to do music, especially as a professional career, until I got married. Just totally wanted to immerse myself into what he was doing. No matter what it was, I wanted to be a part of it. And it happens to be music where I can actually physically be a part of it. So it's really nice.
So she started off just playing saxophone. We did that whole bit for probably 2 months. Then she got interested in singing. So I was not teaching music at this point, and it was a journey to kind of grow that together in the resolve of what we were doing. Because the old cliche and the thing that we'll battle, I think, is people think married people shouldn't do things together for whatever reason. And I think it's quite the opposite. I think people have lost sight of the teammate aspect of marriage, and that teammates, one doesn't sit on the bench and one plays, they both play. And one may be a better player, maybe the MVP at some points, but both play, both contribute. And with us being artists, back from that song, Painter and Poet Written, it was like we both have a different perspective of what this should be, and that's going to make it better than it ever could be with just one of us. So she started to sing, and I was just trying to stay sensitive really to what she was enjoying, because I didn't want to get 10 years down the road and we have all this cool stuff built up, whether it be songs or fans or records or whatever, and she like hate what she's doing just because I wanted her to do it. Staying sensitive, she wanted to start singing, so we started singing. Then she didn't really like playing tenor anymore because it was too heavy, so we bought an alto. And then she wanted to try both together, and that kind of brought us to where we're at now. So the thing we have going right now is definitely unique to Savannah, but is really something that not a lot of people have that I've ever seen, where she sings and plays saxophone.
I do love it. And
She likes what she's doing. And so we've been developing that. Yeah, it's just kind of a thing. We both have a professional mindset. We're both trying to get in the industry, but we want to do it on our terms. And so we're young, we have the ability, and there's no reason to rush anything. So everything's going to be precise, it's going to be genuine, it's going to be original. And writing the songs we want to write, inspired by people that we like, it's good. It's a good conversion of the talents between the two of us, because she's very technical and I'm very world trained. So we meet very well in the middle with this kind of aspect to our sound. And so with me, the big thing that I bring to the table is my songwriting structure that I've developed through the years to really help me write a song.
Let's explore that music writing facet.
Cool. I'm only going to let you in a little bit because I'm writing a book. Maybe
Okay.
in 20 years.
Okay. Maybe we could do the Cliff Notes version.
I'll explain it to you like I explain it to my students.
Okay.
So I have a student that's interested in songwriting. Here's how I break it down to them. The song that you want to write is very simple to you, and that's the beauty of it. So don't think that it's not worth writing just because it seems like it's something that's simple and it's something that people won't understand. So song starts with either a hook, a riff, a lyrical run. Really depends on what people's outlet is. Everyone has a voice, so most of the time it's a lyrical run. So a lot of people have difficulty knowing what key that's in. They actually have apps now that you can sing your lyrical run into, and it will like key it and put instruments to it. For people that have no idea, like it hashes it out for them, and it's amazing equipment. Mm-hmm. And I always recommend stuff like that. But to the ones that want to strive for themselves, they have to figure out what key it's in, which means they have to learn scales. So that's a big hurdle to get over. But being the instructor, I'll teach them that. So they have a run, then we pick the key. Once we know the key, the sky is the limit kind of thing, because now we've unlocked the door and turned on the lights. And they go, oh, okay, so this lyrical run, that could turn into a hook, that could turn into a chorus, a verse, a bridge. It could turn into an intro of the song, and that the rest of the song is yet to be discovered kind of thing. And I think that just is determined by the power of the part. Because sometimes I'll write a part and I'll be like, that's kind of funky and it's cool, but it's not really like the hook. It's more like a good starting point. And then you just play it over and over and over and over again. And in the words of the Black Crowes, the song will come to you. You enchant it to you by playing the riff or playing the part or just playing the progression over and over and over again. And then slowly, singularly, you just gotta add to it. Okay, what if I did this? What if I tried this chord? Ooh, I like that chord. And you jot it down. Oh yeah, that's cool. And you build something up, and then you take a voice memo or a little recording so you don't forget it. So with a band, it could be a band member suggests an idea that is completely left field to you, but meant for the song, and y'all move forward with it. Once you've developed kind of the structure of the song, then you can start your embellishments, because your progression and your arrangement, those are your foundations. And then the embellishments can take place, because if the foundation isn't strong, if it's not a good progression, if it's not tasteful or applicable really to what you're wanting to play, then it's not going to be enjoyable to you. A lot of people will write a progression that caters to something. Oh, that's like a really good folky progression. I don't like folk, but it's a good folky. Well, why don't you make it what you like and what you like to play, and not try and bridge your style, but actually like harness your own sound and figure that out. So I find a lot of the times with my students that they'll cop out like that in a way where they're developing something very cool and unique, but they'll instantly be like, oh yeah, that sounds like this band. I'm just going to write a song like this band. No, keep it really unique. Make it weird. Pink Floyd, they said, we're writing a song like we want to write it, and it showed in all the records. So me, when I'm designing a song, I'm going, what chord should I use here? And I think about the scale, and I go, well, I have this chord and this chord. Well, but I can bridge into this scale. And all those things play a factor, and then I move a step forward. And sometimes it's really odd at first, and then I kind of refine it. We have songs that we do multiple versions of, just because at the end of the version, you're like, nah, it's not where it needs to be, but I have faith that it can become something better than it is, so we'll keep working it. But at some point you have to go, this is good. Like, I'm okay with this. I like playing this. Everything about this is fun, or fun to me, sounds good, or sounds good to me, and I'm ready to just kind of put it out there.
And the process is very similar to what I do artistically and what he does musically. So that's why we were really able to mesh, especially at first in the songwriting and just developing music as a whole. The fact that he's saying that it's a psyche, it's a very mental game and exercise. For me, artistically, it is as well. There are pretty much two different kinds of artists, those that develop everything in their mind and then produce it, just like William is doing, or the ones that take objects and colors and materials and then they build it, and through a process they figure out what they want to do. And both are valid and both are extremely important in the arts because they show just the facets of a human mind and the beauty of what can come just through experimenting. Just the fact that we are able to share in that process, it makes it a lot easier and makes the team stronger for us and allows us to really speak to each other and also be sensitive to how the other person is processing in the moment, especially when they aren't really speaking and they're just like in a moment of concentration. You're like, okay, I need to give them some space.
To kind of put a cap on this, I don't do a song one block at a time. I'll write the entire thing musically. Like on my guitar, I'll write the entire song, then we'll put lyrics to it. So lyrics to me are not a crucial part of the structure. I like to think of the voice as another instrument, another dynamic to be put to the song. And that's very counter what the culture likes. We use the structure of the music as a rigid guideline to structure the lyrics, not the other way around. And that's what I think a lot of people like from our music, is they'll hear us sing, but they're also listening to guitar parts, and there's this interweaving that's going on. Because really the guitar and now the saxophone sit center of that mix.
And that probably explains why there's no two songs that are alike. Each song is unique. You don't use the standard
Structure.
You don't use the standard structure with verse, chorus, verse, chorus. And you have songs that are typically verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. You have songs that are verse, chorus, verse. You have songs that are all verse.
All verse.
No chorus.
That's right. No, there's a verse, bridge.
Bridge.
That's what it is.
Then it
Yeah.
ends.
Because what is a chorus? A chorus is a thesis. It is the beginning of the paper, technically. Even though it's in the middle of the song, it is the main idea.
Yeah.
You should be able to sum the main idea of the song in that chorus.
Yeah.
One line, one paragraph, whatever. The verse is a supporting detail, just like a paragraph. And then a bridge is a conflicting thought. It should be left field to a song. So a lot of people think a bridge is a different progression.
Which was me.
Which is technically correct. But lyrically, a bridge should just be like, you know what, I just said all this, but what if? What if the grass was greener on the other side? What if we can move forward? And then you remind people. Some people go back to the chorus and they'll remind them, but it's not. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the reality of it.
Yeah.
Especially in a song like Fingerprint Marks, where you kind of drone on about the same topic for 4 verses, and it's pretty much right at that point for me where I go, okay, we gotta like add some hope into this song because people need hope, and I think it's fair to give people the reality of life, and that song's about breaking a heart. We've all broken a heart, and then you change the topic and say, you know what, if I can just change my heart, I'll stop breaking hearts. The bridge in that song comes at the appropriate time. This relationship is in a bad place, so what actions need to be taken to see it recovered?
Yes, things are not going well. I see the change that has to occur. And if I'm to change the world, I have to know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I have to start.
For yourself, that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
so-
that's what you say in the song.
Gave me your heart with a hope and a dream. Gave me your heart, pure and clean. Hands stained by the past, rubbed off on it black. Fingerprint marks front to back, tucked away to last. Scared of letting go, it's something I've wanted so long. I hid you from all, kept safe in my arms. Alone in the dark, I looked into your eyes. Gave me your heart, I give you my life. If I'm to change the world, I must know where to start. If I'm to change the world, I must know where to start. I said if I'm to change the world, I must know where to start. It starts in my heart.
Yeah, so with that song, and then a song like Quality Time, which
is almost the same arc
exactly
of things are really not working out here. I mean, we can't agree on anything. Standing there with that look on your face makes me go insane. Things are not going well.
they're not going well. And then you center yourself, right, like a good marriage should, back to the sweet memories, the things that are most valuable, not the momentary discomforts, and you say, you know what, this is actually okay. And you remind each other of that, you hug, you snuggle, and then you move forward. And so that song, same kind of idea. So I would say that that is a resounding topical structure for us, especially for those set of songs.
I that guy you could have chosen to come share your life.
Said you would, but you don't keep your word. Who am I to trust? Just one thing to make me laugh. Sorry, baby, is that too much to ask?
We could be so much better if I just had my way. First time you stepped in the room, my heart beat to a new groove. Everything I need is in you. Oh, oh, oh. We slow danced into the night, our hands both held on so tight. A love like this is hard to find. Head to toe, your beauty is all mine. I'm a lucky man. Oh, I could stare into those eyes and know that everything will be just fine.
Looking at me that way, my sweet thing, I can't help but smile with your arms around my side. I know that everything will be just fine.
We could be so much better if we just let this go.
You're listening to WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. If you enjoy the programming on WRUU-LP, please support the station with a donation. Basic memberships begin at only $50. Additional membership levels are available, and monthly or recurring donations are welcome as well. To check out our membership rates and to donate to the station, go to www.wruu.org/individual and select your preferred donation level. Again, to donate to the station, go to www.wruu.org/individual. Thank you for listening to and supporting WRUU-LP. You're listening to music local and sustainable, and I'm your host, Dave Lake. Tonight, we have in the studio painter and poet William and Ann Cusack.
I think it's done again in another song. Some songs are just sad all the way through. Like Lonely Girl is sad all the way through.
I'm not so sure I would agree with that because there's the hint that we'll
The
get back
hopeful
together.
chorus, that's right.
Yeah.
But it's a hope in vain, almost, if it didn't work out. Because wouldn't the chorus read like, I'm on my way to you, if it was like a guaranteed
Well, it's
kind of
not a
thing?
guarantee.
It's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
So it's more of like a longing hope from me to her to keep her going.
I can see you crying all alone up in your room. Those tears make me cry too. One heart from me to you. one. Are you happy? Pretty lips were made to laugh. Without joy, what we got is not what we could have. Lonely girl, we will be together forever. We're just apart for a time. And walk by faith to win this race. And I'll be waiting at the finish line. I know it's not easy. Love can sometimes be that way. Take hope to make it through, and a song to sing away your blues. Lonely girl, we will be together forever. We're just apart for a time. And walk by faith to win this race. And I'll be waiting at the finish line. Lonely girl, we will be together forever. We're just apart for a little while. And walk by faith to win this race. And I'll be waiting at the finish line.
And that song was written, Anna was in Texas, I was here for 3 months, and it was a crucial part in our relationship before we had gotten engaged. So it was an especially hard season, and I wrote that song in a sitting, which is very odd for me, and start to finish, like from nothing. Sent it to her on a voice memo, and we've always enjoyed that song and always enjoyed playing it. Keep in mind, she was not like in the band or anything. There was no even talk of it once she got married. She brought it up. So that song was kind of written and forgotten about for a long time, for probably a year or two, before we revived it for that EP. Just things like that, where there are songs that aren't necessarily ever meant to be anything, can really turn into something really good. Mm-hmm. It was just meant to be like a, hey, this is for you. And if it's for you only, then that's okay.
Honestly, that's the one that does not fit in the EP.
Yeah.
I mean, structurally so, again, I don't mean this to be pejorative, pop. It's very with hook.
Yeah.
Where honestly, the others are without hook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be straightforward with you. If this EP was meant to be a sampling of musical style, we probably would have redone it or added a little bit more thought into it. But genuinely, it was like, okay, let's pick 5 songs that we like playing, that are our favorite out of these songs that we're playing right now, and let's do an EP with them. So, not really trying to do anything with it except just get something out there for people to listen to, because everyone was asking us, like, what do you sound like? And we produced this entire project. Just being able to do that all in-house and being able to do it at least well enough to get some decent recordings out definitely is a wine sampling of an EP. And I probably would do it over again at the point we're at now, listening to it and looking back on it and go, okay, maybe this song doesn't fit. Lonely Girl is a song that I really like. Songs that we've written since then, though, would easily replace it on that EP. And so it's funny you say that, because I was saying the other day, we'll be redoing Quality Time and Living in the Moment on our first full-length record, maybe Hearts on Fire. The other songs, Lonely Girl and Fingerprint Marks, have kind of had their time. We like the EP, but it will be discontinued here very shortly.
It serves what the first EP should serve. As
That's
you
right.
said, it's to sell yourself. When somebody says,
Simply.
who are you? Here it is. This is who we are. If you like this, book us. If you don't like this, don't book us.
That's right. And fan-wise, I actually am surprised at how many people get it, listen to it, and like one song and don't like the rest, because like you just said, it genuinely was not meant to build a fan base off of. It was meant to go and take to a venue. But people really latch to some songs and really draw a connection to some songs. And it really was done more in a spirit of just getting our name out there. And I think that speaks to it, because how you record as an artist translates to the music. And so we took this very much as a business formal project to have some music to present, and not as we have a fan base that needs our soul in this music, because genuinely we don't have a fan base. It was really done to just get the music out there, and the projects in the future will probably be more genuine in the way that they're recorded and produced, and the time taken to really put our soul into the recording like we do the performance. So that'll really translate. But the unified feel of the entire project will be where every song is different, but they're cohesive to the way that they're recorded and the way that they're done.
So I take it you believe in the album. That the album is a
That's a great
cohesive
question.
document.
It's a great
We were
question.
we've been discussing this for a little
So
while.
we have a lot of songs, man. Like you're saying, Lonely Girl, we could do an entire project with songs like that. The Cotton Candy, the ones people would listen to an entire record of. But we wouldn't listen to that record personally, so why would we want to produce that? But you have to give some people something sweet. Sometimes that has to be on the record. But it doesn't mean that the song is not cohesive with the other songs that we like to call more abstract. More like you got to really listen to this song to understand not only the topic, but also the music, because the music's going to be extremely dynamic. Key changes, progression changes, things that people listen to and they go, okay, I kind of like it the second time.
In that same sense of the classics, do you see a very long musical portion
Love it.
where you get into that musical portion?
Love it. And I think that if you do not cater to the industry, you will never be successful. If you're not successful, you don't have money to do stuff like that, plain and simple. So, as a songwriter, I will not limit myself to write musical pieces, to write cotton candy pieces. I will write them all because I think they're all valuable in their own way. So, someone that I like a lot is John Mayer. And John Mayer, if you're familiar with John Mayer, songs like Body is a Wonderland, he despises that song because of how much people still like it. And he's done 4 projects since that album that people do not know the songs, and it's still asked to be played live, and it's still his #1 song. So he doesn't like did an interview with it, and he plays it live solely because his manager asks him, like, you got to play the song. That's an example of writing a song that people will latch to, and that's okay, so that you can do a record like Paradise Valley. Total left field, total like this is John Mayer kind of thing, but he likes it, and he wrote it and it was genuine to him, and he's famed enough to where it made him money. But did he do that to make money? No.
Sort of in a completely different genre of music, but the same exact story. And that's My Chemical Romance.
Yes.
After they did the Black Parade,
It was a
Genius
it was a beautiful
album. But
Yeah.
people just latched onto it. And after their Mexico tour of, 4 years ago, they said, never again. We're not going to sing any of these songs ever
That's what I'm
again.
saying. So the topic was, is it obsolete to put out the album
Okay.
now? And I think that the answer to that is I don't know. But I definitely think that the aspect of 12 songs is becoming more and more irrelevant. Whether it be that you produce a single, and there are artists right now who are crushing it, putting out a single every 6 months. Adele is probably the most prime example right now. So the single is definitely relevant. So we've gotten to a place in our music distribution where people are so unsatisfied with MP3 that they have digressed back to vinyl. I think that people are hungry for a new physical way to interact with music. And vinyl has brought that back for people. They color them real cool and they do cool. Like the album covers are cool as they used to be, if not cooler. And so people are having that interaction and they will pay $50 for that interaction. So we went from vinyl to cassette to CD to MP3. And now we stream. That was the progression. And now streaming, it's an app on my phone. So it just gets more and more less aesthetic for people. And people don't like that.
Less visible.
Yeah, they don't like that. Even though they paid $1 for that song, which is not a lot of money, they don't like the fact that they can't hold it. So we are in a process right now of actually reinventing what it means to physically obtain an artist's song. And we put a lot of thought into that. But we will most likely be doing a single, because a single is an easy way to cater to the streaming world. A single should introduce you, should capitalize on some really good features of your sound, and should make them want more. It's very unartistic, but it caters to what people want. And before you have a name, you have to cater to what people want. Once you have a name, a record, all you want, because people will listen to it. We're saving our chips for that because we want to try and do something different. If nothing comes to us, if nothing really transpires, then we'll probably do a project of 10 to 12 songs or more, depending on the cohesiveness of the music, because that is valuable, and how many you have at a certain time, and maybe saving one or two for the next project, or saying, I really like this one, it doesn't go with these, but let's write an entire project based around that sound.
But honestly, one of my favorite off the EP, that's Living in the Moment, where it's more, let's get real, let's enjoy
That's
ourselves.
our favorite song off that. Best produced. It was the easiest. It like naturally flowed. So we wrote this song on our honeymoon. We were up in beautiful Asheville, and I just saw like a beautiful sight of some trees withering in the October.
Mountains, waterfall.
Yeah. And I just said, like, we are so caught up with all this crap that consumes us. I'm talking to my generation right now, that we don't just stop and take things in for ourselves. Stop Instagramming, be a part of it, be in it, and let that memory be cherished in your mind, and let that little fish become a big fish to you. Like, that's a beautiful thing. We had no photos at our wedding, solely for the reason so that when I think back to our wedding, the little fish becomes a big fish. Because the fact is, it was a big fish, and it will get bigger, because I don't have these pictures to remind me of, like, maybe just how small that venue was.
In memory, things can become legendary.
That's right.
They probably weren't at the time.
They weren't. No, they were at the time. That's the thing. And then the picture reminds you just how bland they were when you get out of the moment. On Living in the Moment, it has that serendipitous kind of thing about it. That song, it was written about the beauty of life. How beautiful is this? Let's take a moment and observe it. And then through dissecting that, as we're writing the song, we go, a lot of people aren't doing that. So as musicians, we have a platform and the ability to go, here's what this song's about, and here's what it says to us. Put your phones down, take the moment, and let's be together here while we play this song. And think about the people that are valuable to you. Think about that cool mountain air. Think about that first kiss. Those memories that last a lifetime because you were in the moment, completely consumed, not on your phone, and that's what made it stick to the heart. That's what it's about.
the grass and things we do to make it last. But hold on in vain and never be the same as the way we sing. Never be the same as the way we sing. Let's not try to save moments. They come and go on this winding road. Time moves on without stopping. So why don't we take it in slow? Take my hand, we'll go to a distant land. Fill up our souls, see the unknown, but dream of our homes again. Let's not try to save moments. They come and go on this winding road. Time moves on without stopping. So why don't we take it in slow? Oh, listen to me. Live in the moment. Don't stay locked inside your doors. There are things on the outside worth knowing. Find hope in that heart of yours. Hear the sweet sound of a newborn's cry. See the sunset under the distant sky. Feel the rush of the cold mountain air. Taste the lips of the one you hold most dear.
Then, as you described before, you change the meaning of the song as you get to the bridge.
Yeah.
It turns out that maybe it's someone who has not explored anything. It's not a person who's out there ignoring what's around them, but maybe it's someone who is not, for whatever reason,
Engaging.
Yeah,
not
doesn't
engaged,
even
not
realize
engaged.
life's passing them by.
Right, exactly.
It's true.
A lot of people tend to live vicariously when it comes to travel and adventures, and it could be something as far as having a fear or having a doubt, or even just the finances or the will and encouragement to collect the finances to engage appropriately. But it all comes down to curiosity, and you have to bring it down. And this is forever my alma mater of stay curious, because you can just go out and take a walk in your neighborhood and you can find adventure and things to do that are very exciting, and you can engage with people you've never talked to before or knew that were in your neighborhood. And I always am looking for oddities in the insects and flowers and leaves and little anole lizards and all the little things that you miss when you're actually on a mission to go somewhere, even if you're not on your phone or something. Just take the time to really indulge yourself in the day to day, and you'll find a whole lot more gifts, I like to call them, that can come across your path to really give you a joy of the simple things.
Do you want to do another song?
We'll
Beyond
play.
the
We'll
EP?
play a new song.
Yeah, new song.
I think Down Deep would be a good one.
You want to do Down Deep?
Mm-hmm. So this is a song that we like to call an abstract. It's not meant for everybody to like. It's meant to explore something that maybe isn't really talked about a lot, which is death. So the song is about death, basically, the entire song. And in particular, the 27 Club. So we chose to really focus down on that. And this song is an analogy of maybe what went through those people's heads as they either slowly killed themselves like Jimi Hendrix or just quickly ended what they had going like Kurt Cobain, and how as artists we are not above reproach in that. We are not above being alcoholics, we're not above being suicidal. So a big part of that was their fame. So if we were famous, if not that that's our focus, but how would we prepare ourselves for the dark days ahead when it comes to the pressures, like Kurt Cobain says in his suicide letter, that weighed down on him to make him think like he was not worthy to even be alive anymore?
So the idea stemmed from a poem that I had received from a artist friend. It's a spiritual poem because it's about how God was flowing him through the river of life, and how he was so caught up in this one current, and he was overtaken by the river and of life struggles, and then finally God took him on higher ground and let him see the travel of that river, and how he had to go through the shallow and the deep and the currents and all the stresses and flows of the river in order to get to the place that he needed to be. And so for me, I saw it as the high ground was the afterlife. It was death. It was like your life had ended, and here you are looking back on your life. And so I wanted to kind of pinpoint a certain part of the river, and that would be the very underflowing current that takes you under, and you don't really know how to get air, and you don't know how to really survive, and you need your support system, whether that's family, friends, or your spirituality. So we wanted to really take it literal in the sense of the river and the aspect of water drowning you, but in the sense of having this song be about where someone is giving up physically, spiritually, and emotionally, and they're letting themselves drown. And it's really dark and sad, but it just paints a picture of what are you doing to recognize that you're valuable and that you're loved and you have significance in this earth, even if you don't see it and you want to give up, but you need to reach out and tell other people about it, especially if you're going through that moment. And so this is more of a song of hope and recognition more than a really dark, pitiful song. It's supposed to be something of kind of like a wake-up call of you're not alone and it's okay.
And so the chorus is, "This may be the last breath you see in me," which is kind of spoken to every person that hears it, meaning this is the moment right now for us to build that friendship, to connect, because I'm in a dark place and I don't want anybody to know. And so everyone not knowing makes me harbor my bitterness even more, makes me think people don't love me, makes me think people don't want me. And that is the cry of every individual, is to be recognized. So this may be the last breath you see in me, is saying, recognize me, love me for who I am as a person. And it doesn't mean we have to be best friends, it just means that we all need to exist together. And that's what the 27 Club was missing. They had to fill that void that they should have found in other people with their addictions, with their self-doubts, to the point where it consumed them. So are you going to get to the point of being consumed to where it literally kills you, or just emotionally drains you? Or are you going to recognize that you're drowning in the river and just swim to the top and go ashore and dry yourself off and keep going kind of thing? Here it is.
where the weight and the waves bury me. Light fades from me down deep. This may be the last breath in me you'll see.
Harder, harder. You take more than I can offer. Push, pull, let it be. Set me free. This will be the last breath in me you'll see. My own bed.
The sun lays on my head.
Hold
Tight to me, my sleep. And this will be the last breath in me you'll see. As I go, I take what I know.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
Tonight we've been with William and Ann Cusack of Painter and Poet. I want to thank you so much for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hashtag painter and poet.
Thank you for having us.
This has been another edition of Music Local and Sustainable, and I've been your host, Dave Lake. Save this time for another show next week.
Well, I know we ain't headed for the Hall of Fame. Gonna give it what we got, man, that ain't no shame. Let me know if you can hear me. Check, check, 1, 2. Let me know if you can hear me. Check, check, 1.